All right, another week, another show episode. I don't know which one of Oversteer TV online, the podcast with the greatest name in all motorsports podcasts.
It's synonymous with greatness.
Oh yes, it's beyond greatness. It's we are the AJ Foyt, Mario Andretti, and Juan Manuel Fangio of motorsports
Yes.
podcasts. I'm here with my good pal Jeffrey Brown. Jeff Brown, casting couch Brown, as we used to call him. Don't ride in an elevator with him. Uh,
Pull
and
my
it's
finger.
oh no. You smell popcorn? Uh,
Breathe deep.
so we had another week of some interesting stuff that happened. The IndyCar race, I'm sure you saw that. Everybody was bitching and moaning about Joseph Newgarden, and now, after all it's said and done, everybody's going to realize he did nothing wrong. He was ahead of the race. It was a yellow flag. It was a restart, and as when you're leading a race in a reflag yellow, from a yellow to a green, you get to go as fast as you want to go. The powers that be, the judges, and everybody at IndyCar said, no, it's a good start. They threw the green. He took off. Will Power took off a little too early, jumped the start, almost hit and ran to the back of a Herda, and had to check up really fast, which called Rossi to jump and go flying over him. It was a big mess. It was a big mess. And what do you think, Jeff? Oh no, you didn't see it, did you?
Well, I see it differently than you, of course, as usual.
Of course.
I saw the green light come on and Newgarden not go, which he is supposed to control the restart of the race, but once the green comes out, then it's you go. And he didn't go, and the ones behind him did, and of course caused a huge pile. It may have cost Will Power the championship.
Once again,
His
you being a
teammate.
contrarian, you're wrong.
Well, when the green light comes on, it's go time,
and the
whether the
telemetry,
leader goes or not.
and since then they've looked at the telemetry. He hit the gas. He went. He went. Um, the thing was, he was. I'll grant you this one. He was going fairly slow for a restart, but that's his prerogative. Other
Yeah.
drivers don't like going that slow, but he wasn't. If you don't like going that slow to restart, be in front when it comes to the restart. Uh, he was
Like I
going
said,
slow.
he controls the start, but
He,
once that green light comes on, then you go,
he
whether
went.
he goes or not.
The telemetry shows that he went full throttle. The problem is when you're going that slow, those V6 turbos tend to bog down a little bit. It takes a second for them to wind up to get into those high RPMs, and that's why it seemed slow. But the telemetry doesn't lie. He floored it. He stomped on it, and he ended up winning the race. Will Power actually came out today. For y'all saw it after he got crashed out. He was like he jumped over the pit wall and gave a Joseph Newgarden the finger and everything right there on that. I was gonna say national
Which
TV,
finger did he give him?
the fickle finger of fate. The one that Will Power is famous for giving a lot of people. Uh,
I thought it was gave him the year number one
that's
or
exactly
the
what he.
thumbs up.
Yeah. And today, Newgarden came out and said, "Hey, I saw the video. I looked at telemetry. He admitted it was his mistake. He apologized to Joseph Newgarden. He apologized to everybody. Um, it was one of those things where, you know, Will Power's been around for a while, but he's always been kind of a hothead when it comes to stuff like that. Anybody who dare gets in front of him is like, how dare you? He gets all he's the IndyCar series official Karen.
Karen Power.
Karen Power, or as I like to call him, Bambi, because he always looks like a deer in the headlights when things
He's the
don't go.
Denny Hamlin of IndyCar.
Oh, speaking of Denny Hamlin, we were expecting all kinds of fireworks this past weekend in NASCAR, and they disappointed. I'm sorry. This is your cue. You're the NASCAR guy.
Well, I wasn't disappointed with it. It was a good race. I mean, it didn't have the controversy and things that had the week before,
Mhm.
but it was a good race.
That could have been that good again. Nothing to say about
The 2311 team won another race. I was kind of hoping that it would be Bubba Wallace, that he could get into the playoffs,
Yeah, that would have been
but it
cool.
was Tyler Reddick.
Yeah.
He's the driver of the 45 car for Michael Jordan. That's his name, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But other than that, it was fairly uneventful, except for the weekend of the cars getting on their roofs. I guess it was the 7 car. Down slid all the way down. Did we start over?
Yeah, something happened here.
Oh, okay. We must have internet problems. We got a bad storm out there.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on. I think I've lost a couple of signals.
Did we lose the beginning? We start over?
I think we might have to start over. Hold on a second. No, we can keep going. We can keep going, I think. Let's go. Give it a shot.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, we got bad storms, so it could liable to go in and out all the time.
Yeah, we're in case you didn't know, we're here in South Florida, actually in southern Miami-Dade County, and it's beautiful, sunny out. The next thing you know, you have a torrential downpour that trees are falling over and everything, and then 20 minutes later, it's sunny again and sweltering.
Right, and if you're in Homestead, it just sprinkles and the electricity goes out.
Yeah, so we had a little problem with electricity, and when the electricity goes out, the internet goes out, as most of you know. So anyway, where were we? Oh, NASCAR.
Yes, NASCAR. We had an issue with NASCAR with the cars getting upside down, going airborne. And they were perplexed during the race as to why all the roof flaps and the hood flaps and everything that flap when you get backwards or sideways, that's supposed to hold the car down on the track with the aerodynamics, and why the cars got airborne anyway.
Yeah.
And that's just, in my opinion, it's just the sheer speed. There's a threshold of about 199, 200 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
That once you hit that threshold of 200 miles an hour, all the roof flaps and all the aerodynamic stuff that you think is supposed to hold the car down is just not going to work anymore. That's one of the main reasons why NASCAR has tried to keep the cars below 200 miles an hour, because they get sideways, they go upside, they go airborne, way high in the air, they go upside down, they start flipping. And there was no flipping until they hit the grass, and that reiterates what I've said for a long time now, that there shouldn't be any grass.
Right, yeah.
Inside a track, because the guy Corey LaJoy slid on his hood and roof all the way down the backstretch. I mean, all the way. Just he went over nice and easy, landed on his roof, slid all the way down the backstretch, and then when he hit the grass,
it dug in.
That's when it caught, and he started doing the barrel rolls, and he landed. When you land back on all fours, it's not an easy landing. No. I mean, you can break your back literally just landing like that. And it happened also in the Xfinity race on Saturday. And I mean, when those guys got out of the cars, you could tell they were hurting. They were walking gingerly. They didn't want anybody to touch them. And it's all because of that. But, the roof flaps and everything, in my opinion, did their jobs. It was just the sheer speed that once you cross that threshold of 200 miles an hour.
In that kind of car, yeah.
That you're gonna go airborne, and there's really no roof flap or anything that's going to hold you down. Yeah. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you on the grass thing. So
and that opinion is based on years of NASCAR doing everything they can to keep the cars below 200 miles an hour for that very reason, just because of going airborne. Now it's exciting
The fans love it.
when a car goes airborne.
It makes Sports Center.
But you know, the landing part is the part, you know, it's like if you jump out of an airplane, you're fine until you land, you know.
Yeah.
It's that sudden stop that gets you.
The crash doesn't kill you as the stopping does. I agree with you. The grass, especially on super speedways, you know, they hit that grass. Well, first of all, when they hit the grass, even with when right side up, it doesn't slow them down at all.
No.
Where at least asphalt, so the car's going sideways, you're going to have that friction against the tires, slowing them down. With grass, it's like being on ice. It just keeps on going. And the other problem with the grass is unless it's hard concrete, I mean, all it takes is one little divot, even if you're right side up, even just one little divot, that tire catches in that thing, and you're going wee.
Yes.
You're losing your lunch there.
And even if you don't flip, the grass will destroy your front splitter, will damage the underside of your car. It just causes a lot of problems, and there should not be any grass.
Right.
I would rather see gravel than grass.
Yeah. Even gravel, like even before, I remember you used to see like a road course, especially Formula One, they used to have gravel traps on a lot of the corners. And even then, they've gotten away for them because gravel, if you go in sideways, it can flip you also. And what they've done in a lot of tracks, not just Formula One, a lot of other road courses and corners, they use an asphalt, but it's like a high grip asphalt. It's like very bumpy, very, very coarse. So it grabs the tires even more and slows the car down even more. I'd like to see maybe NASCAR look at something, even just if they just lay down some blacktop. It'll slow down.
They just need to get rid of all the grass. Paint it green if you want it to look, you know, like grass. Paint it green.
Yeah. They can just lay
get rid
down
of the grass.
Blacktop and then cut some grooves in it. Like, you know, some of those highways have grooves for the rain and stuff. Put something like that sideways, so when the car hits it, it slows them down. I know all it takes is money, and but there's one thing NASCAR has: it's money. Okay,
they've got plenty of money.
They got plenty of money, especially on their tracks. You're talking about speed. Don't they go to Daytona this weekend?
They do.
Yeah, that's don't get much.
But I think actually, Michigan is actually a faster track as far as the speed going into the corners. They're hitting 205, 206 miles an hour, whereas at Daytona, they're staying in the 190s, you know.
Yeah, Daytona, it's like what they used to call a restrictor plate race, right? Yeah, now it's fuel injection. Now they just use a different. It's still a restrictor. They use a smaller restrictor to get less acid. But Michigan, for some reason, isn't a restrictor plate race.
Right.
It's like Atlanta.
Well, the difference is at Daytona they just run wide open all the way around, whereas at Michigan you actually have to drive the car and pedal the gas, you know, going into the corners and things like that. But yeah, you're doing 206 miles an hour. Your instinct is to lift off that pedal. That's why they don't put speedometers in the car. Because you look down at that speedometer and see 206 miles an hour and your foot lifts up off the thinking, oh man, I'm going fast.
Well, I know some of them aren't the smartest peanut in the turd, but I think they can figure out from the RPMs how fast they're going.
Yeah, but you just don't want the driver knowing exactly how fast they're going. So where they would need the speedometer is on pit road when they're trying to keep a pit road speed to keep from speeding. You know, in my opinion, it's kind of unfair that they're penalizing these guys for speeding on pit road, but they won't let them have a speedometer. Right? Give them a speedometer, at least for pit road, so they can see, you know, make sure they're not speeding.
Well, they do have, in a way, a speedometer. They go down. They go
by the tachometer.
They go by the tachometer, and they do. You know,
sometimes during the race, that changes.
Yeah.
You know, with gearing and engine and fuel consumption and that kind of things, your tachometer can vary a little bit during the race and cause you to think that you're not speeding, and then they tell you you were, and now you lost the race.
Well, I'm just gonna let you know. I just brought up the weather for Daytona Beach this weekend, and it doesn't look good Sunday or Saturday. So set your DVR appropriately.
Yeah, I better record everything because I missed the end of the IndyCar race. Who won the IndyCar race?
We already talked about that. Joseph Newgarden.
Newgarden. Okay. Well, I didn't see the end of it, so I don't.
Yeah.
I didn't know who won until you just told me.
Yeah. The Daytona race.
I did see the crash, the restart, and then they went to red flag, and then my DVR ran out of time.
Oh,
so I didn't
Daytona
get to
race
see
is
the
a night race, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be Saturday night, and
Saturday night under the
there's
lights.
a 50% chance of rain for Saturday.
Yeah.
So, and then when they say 50%, you know it's going to probably rain.
And the Daytona race used to be the 4th of July weekend race.
The good old
and
Firecracker
they would start
400.
that at 11 o'clock in the morning just to try to avoid that afternoon showers that inevitably always comes. And now NASCAR, they just like they've abandoned all history as far as learning from history. If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it, which they did when they came out with this next gen car. They made it too stiff, too strong, and it hurt a lot of drivers with concussions and things like that, which they had learned this lesson back in the 60s, but evidently they forgot. And it's the same thing. They learned the lesson why they were starting the Daytona race on July 4th weekend at 11 o'clock in the morning,
right?
Because they knew those afternoon storms were coming. And also it was extremely hot. Now I can understand they want to move it to nighttime, but you know,
I remember it used to be back like when my youthful days back in the 70s and 80s, it used to be there was the Firecracker 400.
Yep.
And then it was the IMSA used to race there the same weekend, the Paul Revere 250, a sports car race in the infield. And it was a great weekend. It was fun. I went to that event a couple of times. I had a blast at that.
Came to the Coca-Cola 400.
Right. Then it become the Pepsi 400 for a while.
Yeah,
I think so. And then back to Coca-Cola, and then I don't know what it's called now. It's called something ridiculous now. And they moved it to the end of August. And I know they wanted to get 2 Daytona races in before the playoffs, but
yeah,
to me the playoffs, the series should start in Daytona and the playoffs should end in Daytona. I mean, it's where it all started, and it should finish right there too. I know.
Yeah. Or Homestead, we could move it back to Homestead.
Homestead was fun.
But I'm still for getting Homestead a second race. Maybe put it on the road course.
I'd like to see that too. I'd like to see a night road race there at Homestead. They got the
night
lights.
Road course race in Homestead would be awesome.
Any race in Homestead at night's better because it gets especially.
And then you could have it in the hotter part of the Homestead races. You either have to have them right at the beginning of the season, like in February, or at the end in November, because any other time it's just going to be way too hot to have a daytime race.
Yeah, and if you've been to the Homestead Miami Speedway and you sat in those stands, aluminum benches are not
sitting on a frying pan.
Exactly. But we got the Homestead race coming up soon next month, right? No, it's in October. Still a ways to go. No. What else is going on in the world of motorsports? Formula One returning finally. The Dutch Grand Prix. That should be interesting to see how it comes back. We're having probably the best year ever in Formula One, at least in the last 10 years. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, it's been kind of a slow week.
Yeah, it's picking up slow. I do want to send out my condolences. We do for Bill York. He was his main title. He was the media center manager at Indianapolis Speedway for years and years, and he used to come down to work at Homestead when IndyCar used to race at Homestead also, and I met him a few times. Super nice guy. I forgot. I think he'd been at the Speedway for since the 50s. He started working there. as a young kid, and he recently passed away. So,
Yeah.
uh, um, what's going on over there? Our condolences and our thoughts and prayers to the family and all the people over at Indianapolis. He's going to be sorely missed. With that, I guess we're done. We got the see what. Hopefully next weekend will be a better weekend. More to talk about. Maybe your DVR won't run out.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm going to set it for extra time, record the shows after, that kind of thing.
So, guys, I want you to.
I set it for extra time, but it either rains or they have a late race red flag situation,
or they switch networks, or
yeah,
yeah,
that doesn't help me at all. I could set it for way over. They change the channels; it's not going to change with it.
Yeah, with NBC, with IndyCar next year going to Fox with that new contract, NBC is like, okay, let's put them on USA. Let's put. Oh, but the NASCAR
so
race
you need to start recording both channels just to make sure.
I mean, well, the IndyCar race ended up finishing on CNBC. So I don't know how many people watch that one, but all right, guys, if you like our show, click like. Tell us you love us. Listen to us on Spotify. Listen to us, watch us on YouTube. I know you like watching us on YouTube because Jeff has such a pretty face. Hit the like, give us some comments, let us know what you think, and I guess we'll be back. So, Jeff Brown,
next week.
Wave to the people. There you go. I'm Anthony Castanera. We'll see you next week at the OversterrTV online podcast.
There you go.
There you go.